My name is Ingrid. I'm a China researcher and a research fellow at the LeidenAsiaCentre. I also teach at Leiden University. My area of expertise is China's international relations and diplomacy, including also Belt and Road Initiative. And in recent years, I've also focused on academic cooperation between China and Europe. Within this broader BRI project, I look at the connection between the Belt and Road Initiative and China's international cooperation on higher education and research. And that is a two-way connection. So on the one hand, I see that Belt and Road Initiative promotes international cooperation on higher education and science. And you could look at that from the perspective of science diplomacy, because BRI here promotes and supports broader aims by the Chinese government to improve higher education and science. The other way around, you see that higher education, the international cooperation on higher education is used to promote the Belt and Road Initiative. And you could say that that is a form of Belt and Road public diplomacy. And the most important actor and stakeholder is the central government. They have developed the BRI policies, and they also have a large stake in developing international cooperation on higher education and science. And you see that they play the most important role. All policy documents on education mention the BRI, and all BRI documents mention the importance of stimulating international cooperation on education and research. So there's really this strong connection being made at the central level. I see the same happening at provincial level, especially with those provinces that play already an important role in Belt and Road Initiative. For example, Yunnan province is gateway to Southeast Asia, and they try to benefit from that policy and also are very active in developing connections in both ways. And then, of course, there are all the research institutes and universities. They're also very active. But the question is, do they do this by their own initiative because they think it's beneficial for their institute, or are they told to do so by the central government? And what I've seen so far points to the latter situation. Well, when I look at Europe, it's very clear that actors in Europe, both governmental actors but also research institutes, universities, do not look at cooperation with China on education and research in terms of the Belt and Road Initiative. For them, it doesn't play a role at all. They're just focusing on this cooperation, and they don't take Belt and Road into account. This may be slightly different for Asian countries, but that is something I'm still looking into, and even here I do not expect too much agency on their part. The impact of international cooperation on higher education and research on the Belt and Road Initiative is threefold. You see that the name BRI, the concept BRI, is becoming a household name in educational circles because it's mentioned all the time, and many proposals are labeled with Belt and Road Initiative. You see that more research is conducted on Belt and Road Initiative, supported by the Chinese side, so the knowledge about the project is increasing. And you see that China is training talents to work in BRI projects. And you see that mainly taking place in Asia. And the impact is mainly visible in Asia, where the cooperation was still very limited until the Belt and Road Initiative was launched. If we look at Europe, the situation is a bit different because the cooperation was already very extensive and very in-depth. And here China is very pragmatic because they want to cooperate with Europe's top universities. And if these top universities are not willing or not interested in having the BRI label applied to a project, China wants the cooperation anyway. Well, my research is still on the way. But what has been surprising to me so far is how explicit the link between Belt and Road Initiative and international cooperation on higher education is being made in all policy documents. That's something I really didn't expect. And looking at academic research being conducted in China, what is surprising is the role of the provinces, and in particular Yunnan province. So that seems to be a place in China where people are very active, and I had never expected it. So all in all, if you ask the question, is the BRI a game changer for international cooperation with China on education or research? I would say no, it isn't, because many of the developments would have taken place anyway. The only exception here is certain countries in Asia where the cooperation was not yet so developed.